In this video I'm going to show you how you can use this program to create musical instruments and sound effects. This is the main workbench of WaveCraft. It might seem a bit intimidating at first, but it's really easy to use once you get used to it. Over here we have this very handy button. By pressing this button, the program will create a random sound for you. You can play it by using this keyboard or the keyboard on your PC. Once you find the sound that you like, you can save it to disk using this button. After saving it as a WAV file, you can play it. Or use it in a DAW to create a song with it. Over here we have the presets. Here are some instruments that have already been created by me. For example, this metal strike sound. You can just select them here and play them using the keyboard and modify them to your liking. As soon as you have a sound that you want to save as a preset yourself, you can press this button and add it, for example, like this. Now it's stored in the presets. It's listed under default because I didn't put in a category. WaveCraft is a so-called additive synthesizer. That means that you add waves together to create a sound. Usually we use sine waves for this, but we can also use other shapes with the program. Let's start off with a basic sine wave of 440 Hz. It sounds like this. A simple beep. Here you see the properties of this wave. We can change some properties like the frequency, and we can even make it change over time. So if we for example make it change from 440 to 470 Hz, it's gonna sound like this. We can also use sine waves to make the frequency wobble. With this part we can add harmonics to this wave. Harmonics are usually a multiple of the base frequency and are less loud as the main frequency, and they usually naturally appear when you play musical instruments because of the vibration of the snares, for example, of a guitar. Let's add 4 even and odd harmonics. We use overtones, so there will be higher frequencies. It sounds like this compared to this original sound. We can also create undertones. And add some lower frequencies. We can clone this wave and edit it. For example, change the shape. We can change it, for example, to a sawtooth, which is a very striking sound. And we can even create our own shape. we can create a beginning shape and an ending shape. I will move these waves to default so they will not participate in the sound at the moment. So I can nicely tune this one wave. Let's hear what it sounds like now. If we change this back to a sine wave, you hear a lot of difference. If we make the ending shape, for example, a sawtooth, it sounds like that. Over here you can see the final output of the sound that has been created using the list of these waves. This is the frequency and this is the volume output. We can see that this sine wave has a frequency of 440 Hz. So now let's change this sine wave, for example, add a few spikes and observe what happens to the frequency graph. You see that a lot of new frequencies have been created, so-called harmonics, and the sound has changed a lot. Compared to the earlier. We can use this part to fade in and fade out the sound by creating a so-called envelope. Now the sound will slowly rise to the highest volume and slowly decrease in volume at the end. With this part we can edit multiple waves. You will see that a lot of sounds consists of lots of sine waves, and we want to be able to edit multiple sine waves at once. So we can make here a selection by using control click or shift and click, and then we select multiple waves, and you see that over here we can now bulk edit this selection. If you select just a single wave, we're gonna bulk edit all, because if we want to edit this single wave we can just do it over here. So this is used to change all the waves at once. We can set, for example, the shape or frequency to the currently selected one. So if we want to copy this wave shape to all the other waves, we just press this button and all waves will have that shape. We can also change the duration. For example, let's make it very short. It's important to understand that by changing the duration you don't change the pitch and you don't change the quality of the sound, because everything is generated based on the waves that we have created, and this is just the length of the final piece of sound that we're creating. We can also modify the shapes. For example, this volume, we can change it, make it increasing, and change it from its original 1.0 to a factor of 1.5. You now see that the volume of these waves is rising, whilst the volume of these waves is still constant. You can also use this button to edit waves of a certain frequency range, and you can use this to apply like a low pass or high pass filter. The last part that I didn't explain yet is this section, the bulk create. With this we can create multiple sine waves at once. They will all be based on the base wave that you have here. So let's change this wave a little bit. Let's make the volume wobble. It sounds like this. Now we can use the bulk create to create multiple sine waves with the same properties as the wave we just created. We can change the weight, for example make the weight of the lower frequencies a bit more and the weight of the higher frequencies less. And we can specify a range here, let's say 20 to 4000 Hertz. We will create 12 sine waves, and then we end up with a sound like this. We can now remove the original sine wave if we like, and we end up with that final sound. Alright, this concludes my introduction. I hope you have a lot of fun creating your own sounds. Thanks for watching.